The king, being uniquely powerful and heroic, will have no competitor. He will travel around the globe on his victorious chariot, holding his invincible bow in his hand and appearing exactly like the sun, which rotates in its own orbit from the south. Purport. In this verse, the word yathärkaù indicates that the sun is not fixed but is rotating in its orbit, which is set by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Brahma-saàhitä and also in other parts of Çrémad-Bhägavatam. In Fifth Canto of Çrémad-Bhägavatam, it is stated that the sun rotates in its own orbit at the rate of 16,000 miles per second. Similarly, Brahma-saàhitä states, yasyäjïayä bhramati sambhåta-käla-cakraù. The sun rotates in its own orbit according to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion is that the sun is not fixed in one place. As far as Påthu Mahäräja is concerned, it is indicated that his ruling power would extend all over the world. The Himalaya Mountains, from which the sunrise is first seen, are called udayäcala or udayädri. It is herein indicated that Prthu Maharaja's reign over the world would cover even the Himalaya Mountains and extend to the borders of all oceans and seas. In other words, his reign would cover the entire planet. Another significant word in this verse is Naradeva, as described in previous verses. The qualified king, be he King Prthu or any other king who rules over the state as an ideal king, should be understood to be God in human form. According to Vedic culture, the king is honored as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he represents Narayan, who also gives protection to the citizens. He is therefore Nata, or the proprietor. Even Sanatan Goswami gave respect to the Nawab Hussain Shah as Naradeva, although the Nawab was Mohammedan. The king, or governmental head, must therefore be so competent to rule over the state that the citizens will worship him as God in human form. That is the perfectional stage for the head of any government or state. Omigyan timadandasya jnanalakshalakya chakshunitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha Shri Chaitanya namodhistam sthapitam yena bhutale swayarupagaramayam dadati swavedantikam Vanchakalpatarubhischa kripa sindhu vyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha Katayata yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet Vishvate vipriyati shyat Shri Chaitanya nanamitam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gauda Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Prthu Mahäräja is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shakti Avesh Avatar, empowered by the Bhupala Shakti. Bhupala means one who protects the earth. So he is the perfect example of a governmental head of state. The Çrémad-Bhägavatam provides all knowledge that you need. How to run a government is shown by Prthu Mahäräja. Many times you may be caught in a conversation, and the conversation usually goes towards politics, and that this politician doesn't know what he's doing. What is he doing with the country? He's cheating the people, and he should just leave. But Srila Prabhupada has condemned democracy. He calls it demon crazy. Why is that? Because Kala Sudra Sambhava. Everyone in Kali Yuga is born as a Sudra. Sudra is known as one who always laments. He doesn't know what is right and wrong. He's a miser. He doesn't know how to use the human form of life. Just giving in to the mind and senses. So those are the personalities that are voting in the leader, the president or prime minister. So they'll vote someone in just like themselves. Someone who's just a hog or a dog. In Australia, there was one election, I think it was in 2007. So as the two candidates for the position of prime minister was in place, so they have their campaigns. They try and find some dirt on the other politician and expose it. So they tried to expose the opposition leader, saying that he was in America and he was with other ministers and they went to a strip club. And this is why you shouldn't vote for him. He's low class. He's not a real upstanding personality. So the opposition leader, he did not deny it. He says, yes, we went, but we are men, this is what we do. We go to strip clubs. Actually, that made him more popular amongst the public. Oh, he's an honest man, he's just like us. Yeah, we'll vote for him. This is demon crazy or democracy. But Prthu Mahäräja is not such a personality. Prthu Mahäräja, his only focus is to fulfill Dharma, to fulfill the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the definition of Dharma. Religion is not man-made. Religion is the law set down by God. And the Kshatriyas are meant to uphold such Dharma. That is the meaning of Kshatriya. One who protects one from hurt. If one doesn't follow Dharma, one will end up suffering. But if one follows Dharma, pretty much Dharma protects that person. That representative of the Supreme Personality, Påthu Mahäräja, has been compared to three things here. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada highlight that he's just like the sun. He's just like the Himalayan Mountains, and he is just like a god in human form. So let's look at the different qualities of these three comparisons. So the sun, here we are given the quote from the Brahma-saàhitä that it is known as Kala-cakraù. It's known as the king of all planets. And it's rotating, it has its orbit within the universe. Modern science says that it's stationary and all planets are going around the sun. But no, the sun has its own orbit according to Çrémad-Bhägavatam. And it's even showing in detail the nature of the sun god. He is on his chariot right now. He is traveling at 16,000 miles per second. That's a fast car. No Formula One driver. And he's not like, he's not struggling with this, No, he's sitting there and he's being offered prayers by 60,000 sages called the yasyäjïayas. Is that right? They're like the size of a thumb. They're very small, actually. I saw this reference of these small sages. I think it was in the 12th canto, 11th canto. And I think it was expressing the merciful nature of the Lord. And that the Lord saved these thumb-sized sages from drowning in like a small puddle. He saved them, and they offered prayers to them. 60,000 of them. So they're offering prayers to the Lord, and there's like other personalities involved in holding the chariot together, which pulls the sun. And the sun is considered Jai Shri Radharanath ki, Shri Gora Hari ki, Shri Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. The sun is the king of planets because the universe is dark by nature. There's no light. Unless there's a sun, then yes, there's light. In the Bhagavad Gita it says in the spiritual world, there's no need of sun, moon, or electricity, because the planets are self-illuminated. Even the personalities are self-illuminating. Or to speak of Krishna's effulgence, the Brahma-jyoti emanating from him. When there was the churning of the milk ocean, and they were struggling to whether to get the churning rod in the form of that mountain. They couldn't lift it, and then the Lord appeared, and he was so effulgent that they couldn't really see anything. So this is the effulgence that exists in the spiritual world, but such effulgence doesn't exist in the material world. This one universe is covered by so many layers of the 8 elements of earth, fire, water, wind, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. One 10 times greater than the next. So we're like buried under all of this. But no, there is the sun planet giving light to all planets, to all life. And the sun is compared as the eyes of the Lord. In the universal form is referred to that his blinking is the day and the night, when the sun is appearing and disappearing in the sky. And the sun is also known as like taking life away. As the sun rises and sets, everyone's life is taken away, except for those who are absorbed in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So the sun is giving life. When I hear this word, there's mentioned udayäcala, or like sunrise, uday. It reminds me of this verse of Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sabakaranoi Sravanari Surachite Kurayodaya. That the living entity has love of God already within the heart. It's not coming from an outside source. But by Shravanadi, by hearing and other activities of devotional service, it starts to rise up from within the heart. The Vivaswan, the sun god or the president of the sun planet, he is a direct disciple of Krishna himself. He received Bhagavad Gita. Was it like 2 million years ago, 120 million years ago? I can't remember this. I mean, hundreds of millions of years ago. He heard the Bhagavad Gita. So he's a devotee. So we can see Prthu Mahäräja has the same qualities as the sun god. Very heroic and powerful. To give life to his citizens. Just like the king of planets gives life to all other planets. Prthu Mahäräja is described as the Himalaya Mountains. Here, Himalaya Mountains in the Bhagavad Gita is known as representing the Lord as immovable things that cannot be moved. I am the Himalaya Mountains. This is Krishna's representative. So we see here that Prthu Mahäräja was always fixed in Dharma. And then here it's referring that his reign was all over the planet. He was so powerful. His influence was all over the planet. So we may not, it seems like mythology, like how can someone rule the whole planet? How could everyone know the one person or follow the orders of one person? But we get enamored by this kind of influence, especially on the internet. Someone has like 3 billion, 4 billion views. Wow. He's influential. The whole world is watching him. We meet someone who gets they have like a Instagram or YouTube channel, 100,000 followers. Wow. A lot of people know him. He must be famous. Can I get a selfie with him? Prthu Mahäräja's influence was not just where there's civilizations in some cities, no, or where they get internet, no. Himalayan Mountains, all over the seas and oceans, his influence was there. There was no one who did not know him or could follow his order. That's why it makes him Naradeva. He was the ideal king, God in human form. And this is what the purpose of the king is, to engage everyone in devotional service, not in sinful activity. The leaders of today are engaging everyone in meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication and gambling. In Australia, I'm from Australia, that's why I'm always referring to Australia. In Australia, there's no one believes in God, but there is a religion. The religion is sport. They have their devotional cloth and the sporting team they go for. They have their bhajans, or the different chants, supporting their team. They have their acharyas, the players and the coaches. And they look up to them. I want to be like them. Training hard all life to try and be an acharya. And they have their places of worship, the different sporting fields. They will come. One time we did herein at the grand final of the football match. And there's all these people surrounding the football stadium before the match starts. And you're going around. And one time, His Holiness Janananda Maharaj came with us. Actually, what happened was that, so you have football, like worldwide known, the World Cup. So there's an Australian version of football. It's pretty much made by convicts. So Australia was known as a place where the British would send the prisoners. So it was just a big prison house. So then they started colonizing, and it's Australia now. And so they developed their own form of football, and it's pretty much just you just punch people. That's the football match. There's a big field, there is a ball, but you can punch people and hit people as much as you like, no problem. This is Australian culture. So the people who follow this sport, they're of the same nature. And we go around with herein, and they're all drinking, they're all punching each other, and somehow we're there. Yeah, somehow we got on TV as well, we're giving out cookies. And then the match is about to start, and there's still last people going inside, and we're still chanting, Janananda Maharaj is there. And there's one lady, and she has like no teeth. Like you can tell she's probably also been in some fights, And she's just like calling out, she's dancing with us, she's drunk, but she's like calling out for a football team. Oh, football team, yeah. They were called the Magpies. Go Magpies, like this. And then all of a sudden she just like stops, sees Janananda Maharaj like bouncing up and down, and just starts paying obeisances. We were shocked. She's like, oh. So the nature of people, they want to worship somebody. And especially when it comes to someone of leadership, they want them to be of like perfect character. And we see the perfect character of Prthu Mahäräja. He only cared. He had love for the citizens, the praja, those who were born on his land, not just for the human beings, but for the animals as well. When he is known as the son of King Vena. King Vena was a very ruthless king. He was so ruthless that as a child, when he was playing with other kids, he would kill them. He was so ruthless. But then he was installed as king because they needed a king. And still rogues and thieves were scared of him. But then he disrespected the Brahmanas. He says, why are you worshipping this Vishnu? You should worship me. I'm the one maintaining you. You are just like prostitutes who don't honor their master. And that was too much for the Brahmanas. And they killed him by sound vibration. They said the word was hum. So don't hum too much. Kill someone. So when he died, then the rogues and thieves took over again. So they needed to have a righteous king. So they preserved the body. It says in oils and herbs, kind of like a mummification nearly. And they churned different parts of his body. I remember asking Påthu Mahäräja about this. I was like, how do they churn the body and produce a person? So Påthu Mahäräja said, this is cloning actually. Cloning. You know, they clone like animals and sheep from a body, they make a replica. Cloning, yes. Cloning. So I think it was from the legs, they churned and they produced the head of the Nasadas. And then they got the arms and churned, and then Prthu and Achi came from that churning. Because they want to preserve the seminal line of Dhruva Maharaj, who was a great devotee. So they want to have someone like Dhruva Maharaj to come and save the world. And Prthu Maharaj, he was such a great protector because the earth was overburdened by all these sinful activities taking place, and she held back all the grains and the foodstuffs and resources. And then Prthu Maharaj was thinking, no, this is wrong. And he wanted to chastise the earth. So the earth tried to protect itself by taking the form of a cow. And said, you are a Kshatriya, you should protect the cow and women. How can you kill me? And he said, but you are being sinful. By you holding back all the resources, my praja, the citizens, are not getting what they need. They are dying. So I'm even ready to kill you, chop you into pieces to feed the citizens. So then she understood and she took shelter of the Kshatriya, of Prthu Maharaj. So it's Kshatriya code that just like when Kali took shelter of Parikshan Maharaj, even though he was a criminal, smashing the legs of Dharma in the disguise of a king, then very easily he could have just killed him. But no, Kali took shelter of him and goes, I'm also your praja, give me shelter. In the same way, Prthu Maharaj gave shelter to Bhumi Devi. He says, yes, then we must get the resources then. She says, well, I'm a cow, I need a calf to be milked. So then with his bow, he was so powerful, he could level the land. And he was so powerful, he could maintain the earth himself. He didn't need Bhumi Devi. But then he brought different personalities to invoke affection out of Bhumi Devi to give resource or milk, which comes as resources. Unfortunately, the only one I can remember is that he brought Prahlad Maharaj, who's the head of the demons, and then the milk came out as beer and liquor in an iron pot. Maybe I'm a demon, that's why I remember it. So all resources were provided due to the mercy of Prthu Maharaj. He was such an upstanding leader of society. What's funny that now, in the end of this purport, Prabhupada mentions Sanatana Goswami gave respect to the Nawab Hussain Shah, who was a Mohammedan, cow eater, cow killer. Because the Nawab Hussain Shah was inquiring about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was getting such popularity. And Sanatana Goswami, he wanted to play it down that he's not an important personality. So Mahaprabhu would be undisturbed by the Muslim rulers. But the Nawab was very intelligent, Because he says, I'm worshipped because I give charity sometimes, I provide things, I give money. So people respect, honor me, worship me. But I see him, he's giving no charity. He doesn't even have any wealth. But people still follow him regardless. I know he's someone special. Then Sanatana Goswami says, well, look within your heart and find out who he is. You are Naradeva, you are God in human form. You've been placed in the position of a leader by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Look within your heart and see what he says. And then now he saw within his heart, he understood, yes, this is the Lord himself. So to have such a position of leadership is not an accident. Within our own movement, we have managers, we have leaders, we have people we have to answer to. And we think that, why are they there? They're not doing a good job. He's not even very pure, he's got some contamination. Why is he in this position? No, he's been put in this position by Krishna himself. This service has been given to Krishna to manage devotees. So we should honor his position. We should honor the choice of the Supreme Lord by following their instruction to us. It can be in the form of the Guru, it can be in the form of the temple president, temple commander, the Sankirtan leader, the mother and father. They are also we've been put under their direction by the Lord for the particular purification we need. Just like the Pandavas, they did not agree with Yudhishthira's choices many of the time. Just like when Durban was captured by the Gandharvas, they wanted to come and show off their wealth to the Pandavas who were in exile. It's like, wow, we have so many hours, we have so much wealth, we are the emperors. And then Karna have a good idea. Yeah, let's show it off, rub it in their face. They're all living in the forest, in huts, and we're like so opulent. So they want to rub it in their face. So they brought all the opulence to where they found that the Pandavas were. They came to a lake which was ruled by Gandharvas. And the Gandharvas said, no, you cannot come here. It's ruled by Gandharvas. Don't come. And Durban, with so much ego, said, who do you think you're talking to? Yeah. Get out of the way, we're coming through. And then the Gandharvas, okay then. And then they had a big battle. And Karna was there, he got defeated, he ran away, and they captured Durban. So word got to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira was doing some yajna at that moment with Brahmanas. And they said, the messenger said, yes, Durban has been captured by the Gandharvas. And then Yudhishthira told Arjuna, it's like, oh, we have to save him then. And then Arjuna and Bhima were like, what? Why are we going to save Durban? These Gandharvas, they took care of our job, Just leave him in suffering. And then Yudhishthira said, no, Bhima, no Arjuna. Amongst each other, we may see ourselves as Kurus and Pandavas. But to the public, we are all Kurus. They all see us as Kurus. So we may be in this movement, and we may have guru cliques, we may have certain groups of people amongst us, and we may conflict. But to the public, we are all part of the same team. We are all ISKCON, we are all under Prabhupada. So we should look out for each other, regardless of the differences we have, because we are all under Prabhupada. We are representatives of Prabhupada. So then, Maharaja Yudhishthira said, I cannot go though. I have to finish this yajna. But you, Arjuna and Bhima, you guys go. So if you imagine, you completely disagree with Yudhishthira, and it's his idea. Why didn't he go? He's telling you to go and save this rascal. It's like, okay, let's go. He's the eldest brother, we must listen to him. This is the etiquette. So they go, they fight with the Gandharvas, And Arjuna is so expert, and he defeats the Gandharvas. They try and take him away into the sky. He shoots some special arrow with the mantra and he traps them. And then he says, release Duryodhana at once. The Gandharvas revealed that they were sent by Indra, Arjuna's father, to try and give them a heart, to try and help the Pandavas. And Arjuna said, no, Yudhishthira said, let go of Duryodhana right now. And then Duryodhana, he said, he was saved. He goes, okay, what do you want? I owe you a favor, you saved my life. Arjuna said, I'll ask you later. So then, there was a time where Arjuna needed the favor. At the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Bhishma was approached by Duryodhana one night. So they would fight during the day, but at night, there was no fighting. Sometimes they go to each other's camps, have dinner. Hey, it was like sport nearly, the war for Kshatriyas. And then, just like sporting people, they're very fierce on the field, on the court, but then, they go and meet up, have dinner, and say, hey, that was a nice move, you did that, nice goal. They respect each other's prowess in sporting. So the Kshatriyas, they respect each other's chivalry, their prowess in battle. So Duryodhana approached Bhishma Dev. He says to his grandfather, he goes, you're just holding back. You're not putting everything into it. You have affection for the Pandavas. You're not a real Kshatriya. So Bhishma says, oh, really? Really? You think so? So then he put 5 arrows in front of him, one for each Pandava, and he vowed that I will kill the Pandavas with each arrow on the battlefield tomorrow. So then he invoked some mantras into them, and he said, okay, but Duryodhana, he didn't trust Bhishma Dev. So he goes, okay, then I'll take the arrows with me. He says, fine. Krishna knew about Duryodhana's plan. And because Krishna is always a step ahead, he told Arjuna, he says, hey Arjuna, you know how Duryodhana owes you a favor? You need a favor from him. He says, yeah, okay, so you should go and see Duryodhana and ask him for those 5 arrows. And he's like, okay. So he goes there, and then Duryodhana, he welcomes Arjuna. Good reception, everything. This is Kshatriya code. You receive them very nicely, even the enemy. In Vedic culture, you should receive even an enemy as if they think they're not the enemy anymore. So he says, please come, have a drink, sit here. So, you want the kingdom without a battle? Is that what you're asking for? He says, no. I want those 5 arrows. And Duryodhana's like, Krishna. And because the Kshatriya is a man of their word, he gave the arrows. Duryodhana goes back to Bhishma Dev. He says, grandfather, Arjuna took the arrows. I had this favor, I had to give it back. So then Bhishma vowed that either Krishna breaks his promise or Arjuna will die on the battlefield tomorrow. Next day a battle takes place. Bhishma is cleaning house. He is killing all the Pandava soldiers, left, right, and said his bow is in a full circle. Astras flying everywhere. He was unstoppable. And then he was attacking Arjuna. He's like cutting his bow. He's nearly about to die. And then Krishna, he's known as Bhaktavatsala, one who serves his devotee, one who cares for his devotee. Vatsal means like the calf. He's like the calf of the bhakta. He ran like a lion towards Bhishma Dev. And it says that his golden cloth was like flying off and all the dust was coming on his face, perspiration. He looked so beautiful actually. And Bhishma Dev, he's a pure devotee. And he's in this chivalrous ras, in this vira ras with Krishna. And he's firing arrows at Krishna. And he says, please come at me, O lotus-eyed one. He wants to be killed by Krishna. And the arrows, they go into the body of the Lord. And Vishwa Chakravarti Thakur, he's in this Madhurya Ras, he says, Krishna felt these arrows just like the love bites of a fiancé on their lover. He took them as offerings of love. Krishna is not stereotype, Prabhupada says. But don't try and offer arrows to Krishna. But Arjuna, he is also in love with Krishna. He's like, no, don't break your promise. And he's like holding on to, where's the picture? There it is. You can see Arjuna's holding on to Krishna's leg. It's like, no, don't break your promise. And then Bhishma is ready to be killed by and Krishna, he just picks up this chariot wheel, ready to kill Bhishma Dev. It says when Bhishma Dev was about to leave, he's always remembering this form of the Lord coming at him. He remembers him coming with this chariot wheel and this electric, he describes his cloth as electric lightning aura, the color of his yellow cloth, coming at him, ready to kill him. But Bhishma Dev, he dropped his weapons and then Krishna stopped and Arjuna was saved and Bhishma's promise was fulfilled, his desire was fulfilled. So Krishna had to fulfill the desire of the pure devotees, both Bhishma Dev and Arjuna. That you declare boldly, O Arjuna, that my devotee will never perish. So this is the nature of Krishna and his relation with his devotee. And we can see that Prthu Mahāräja represents such a great person like Krishna by being always protective of his citizens to make sure they become pure devotees. And we'll see later on that how he receives the 4 Kumaras and gives them everything. He treats the devotees so nicely. So I'll stop here. If there's any comments or questions on what we discussed, especially from seniors. Did you want to add something, Prabhu? Maharaj, Prabhuji? You can add. Everyone's senior to me here. Raghunath Bhatta Prabhu, Sutadeep Prabhu.
Thank you very much for the class. Just thinking that we already heard over the years I've been hearing, and I was speaking also to Prthu Mahāräja, sometimes was asked to speak. But we find that there are many things that Prthu Mahāräja, the present government in South Africa is doing. And sometimes as devotees we may think, well, they're not doing very much, but they do the best that they can. So we may have like a negative view towards them. But they fall short in certain areas. So how do we look at it? Do we like give them credit for what they're doing, or we just focus on the shortcomings? And sometimes, as you was pointing out, like the one person in Australia was looking at the other person's shortcomings. So how do we view that? Another point that I want to make was Bhakti Teacher Swami met the present government prior to them assuming office. And he was pointing out to them their shortcomings, and they must be careful in the future before Nelson Mandela could come into power. And, like many of the things, that he spoke to them about is coming to pass now, which is their shortcomings. So I think it's nice to also give credit to what they agree. So I just want to hear your comments on that.
Yes, so many times you'll see in these purports referring to Prthu Mahāräja. And Prabhupada will pretty much emphasize that a government is supposed to allow or enhance the performance of Sankirtan Yajna. So I guess that's a great credit we could give to those governments that allow Sankirtan Yajna to go on. because there are some places it cannot go on. So at least that is there. Is the president still Ramaphosa? Ramaphosa, is he still the president? So we give him credit for having such an amazing name, Ramaphosa. Everyone's chanting the holy name because of him. We give him credit for that, right? And His Holiness Maharaja, Maharaj, he mentions about the breakdown of the Soviet Union because of the leader, his name was Gorbachev. So we always heard Gorbachev. Eventually he will have to break down communism. Even Donald Trump, we give him credit because he allowed, in one of his, I think one of his car yards in Detroit, he allowed the devotees to keep the yathärkaù cart there. And even those who are leaders amongst the people, musicians, they also are very influential, so they may have some shortcoming, like the Rolling Stones. They donated for the marble of the altar in the first temple in London for Radha Londonishwara. So, maybe that's why they're still famous now after 50 years. So much punya. So yes, we are going to recognize people's service that does help the Sankirtan movement. But we will always see the ideal. We always compare the ideal government of Prthu Maharaj. Prabhupada says that, I've heard in lectures, that our strategy to try and change leadership to become more like a Raja Rishi would be in mass preaching, to preach to the masses, to purify them through holy name, book distribution, prasadam distribution. If they become purified, they will elect someone more purified, someone of more upstanding character. That's kind of the idea of it. And we can see there is some move towards having a better leader, like Modi in India. He established Ayodhya as the place of Ram now, with this big temple and everything, and changing the names to its original Sanskrit names of different cities. And there's a lot of improvement we see in Vrindavan by the government. They're making it more accommodating for pilgrims. In Jagannath Puri, recently devotees have been there, and usually the streets are cluttered with people, rickshaws, cars, whatever else. But around the Jagannath Mandir, it's completely clear. There's like big parks and everything, no cars, no rickshaws running through. It's very nice. You can be absorbed in Jagannath much more than just having all these cars and rickshaws and and different shopkeepers. So, yes, we have some leaders who are doing things that are favorable to the Sankirtan movement, and they will get that credit. Yes, we'll definitely do that. And but with the Bhagavatam, we're talking, pure devotional service, the highest standard of a leader. So that's also there. It's okay? Yeah. Thank you. Srivas Prabhu.
Thank you very much for a beautiful class. I think the point you made that I very much like is the fact that we all represent the power of God. Even though we may be different in so many ways. We have different gurus, we have different bodies, we have different inclination, members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So when there is some conflict, when there is some misunderstanding, when there is some friction, when there is some fighting, the outsiders, they will simply see that the members of the Hare Krishna movement, the members of the Prabhupada movement, they are fighting. And that is the service of the Prabhupada. So it's a very important point to make, that despite our divisions, so to speak, we should not be divided because we have one goal. Our goal is to go out from back to Godhead. In a spiritual world, there is no division. Don't look at the Brahma for everybody, or Vaikuntha is for everybody. It's just that the modes of nature in this material world has so conditioned us. The modes of nature have so conditioned us that we can't see beyond our noses. Whatever we see, we think that's the reality. But the reality is different. From Krishna's perspective, the reality is different. So that's a very powerful point you made, and I want to take that away. So I want to amplify it so others can get a message. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I think we're done. Kantaraj Çrémad-Bhägavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Bhakta-vrinda ki, Jai Go Premanande. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai.
Who is driving that?
Sachita Lau is organizing.